And welcome back. This is our first conversation for this morning, and we have joining us on set none other than the Honorable Tracy Panton. She's the representative for Alberts, and on Sunday she was elected at a convention to become the interim United Democratic Party leader. Good morning, Ms. Panton.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
I first want to give a big shout out to all our UDP supporters who attended the convention on Sunday, and of course our delegates. And I have to say hello to my people in Albert. Good morning. Good morning, Belize.
Ms. Panton, good morning again, and of course good morning to all our viewers as well. I'm having a hard time. We're having a hard time here, and perhaps you could provide some clarity for us. We're having a hard time with titles. On one end, the National Convention that was held on Sunday declared you the interim leader of the United Democratic Party. On the other end, the Honorable Moses Shine Barrow says he is the rightful and only leader of the United Democratic Party. The challenge we're having is a straightforward question. Who is the leader of the UDP?
On Sunday, October 20th, the United Democratic Party held a national convention, petitioned by 232 delegates of the party. At that convention, the former leader, Honorable Shine Barrow, was recalled, and I was elected as endorsed as the interim leader for the United Democratic Party. I am the leader because the delegates, 347 of them who came to that national convention and 334 who said, yes, we need a leadership reset, voted by secret ballot for me to become the leader of the party.
I just want to, I want you to take me back, because we've had this conversation before. To quote your constitution for me, because that's not something that I have privy, where this convention is legal and sanctioned by your constitution. So if you could perhaps maybe share that information so that we can get a better understanding.
So the constitution of the party says, in essence, that 25% of the delegates of the national convention can petition for a national convention to be convened, and once that happens, the convention will be convened. Now, 25% of the delegates would be 132. We have 528 delegates now registered. 232 delegates petition for the convention to be held. And the chairman, who in my view has exercised extremely poor judgment, and in my view has shown a gross dereliction of duty and care to his responsibility to the delegates of this party, decided he would not even look at that petition. Because
that's a part of the process,
right,
in the natural course, right? Is it for him to look at the petitions?
No. If he gets the petition and he verifies that the petition, that the relevant people have signed the petition, he must convene the convention. You see, there are no sweeping powers in the constitution given to the chairman or to the party leader or to the vice chairman. They have a duty, they have a responsibility to the delegates, and they decided to disregard and not to act in the best interest of the party.
So carrying out this convention without the sanctioning from the chair, then what does the party then have to do next?
What the Constitution does not say is that the convention will only be convened if the chairman says it will be convened.
Okay.
It says 225% or 1/4 of the delegates of the National Convention can convene a national convention, and that is what happened on Sunday.
And I think it also says that once that amount of petitions are received, that they'll make the call. That's one of the things that triggers the call for a convention, and they issue a notice that a convention will take place. And I'll just say that we're not here to necessarily argue the legitimacy of Sunday's convention, because arguing the legitimacy of Sunday's convention in the face of the thousands of supporters you had there would be futile, because as far as those supporters are concerned, it's a legitimate convention.
And let me say this, I heard the vice chairman refer to supporters of this party as cockroaches coming out of the closet. How derogative, how vindictive. These are people who have supported this party at all costs. Many of them have lost jobs because they wear the banner, or they wear the banner of being a member of the United Democratic Party. I heard last night on one of your reporters interviewing the party leader, and he's referring to stalwarts of this party who have contributed 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of their lives in supporting this party, serving this party on all the standing committees of the party. People like Audrey Wallace and Steve Duncan and Doug Singh and Perla Perdomo. I heard the way he referred to them in the most vile terms, accusing them of all sorts of things. No.
Let's go to that, Ms. Panton. The party leader yesterday referred to the alliance as the Alliance for Corruption. He's saying that the alliance is its own party, and that the events of Sunday was a Alliance for Democracy convention. I'm piggybacking off the comments he made about the Alliance for Corruption, pointing out key persons in the forefront of this movement. What do you make of the comments where the Alliance for Corruption is concerned?
I think it speaks to his character, and that is why we had thousands, not hundreds, thousands of UDP supporters who came to that convention to say loudly and clearly to us and to the rest of this country, we need a leadership reset. He is delusional and certainly not fit to lead the United Democratic Party.
Doesn't he make a point, though, when you look at the majority of individuals following behind you, individuals that lost badly at the last general elections, and perhaps are looking for an opportunity to stay in the party by any means and run in the next general elections, versus making way for a new movement, new faces to enter the party. It's as if your movement is giving life to the old guard.
There's room for the old guard in the United Democratic Party, and we make no apologies for that. If you look at the new leadership team that emerged from Sunday's convention, that is the new guard, if you want to speak in those terms. Something has to be wrong when any leader of any mass political party wants to put at bay persons who have sacrificed their lives to hold up the UDP banner when very few people wanted to. And when you make accusations of anyone, please present the evidence. You know, he continues to malign everybody that does not agree with him. He continues to malign them. And again, I say that speaks to his character. He's delusional, and he's a dictator, he's a thug, and he's not fit to lead the United Democratic Party.
It seems now that after this convention has concluded and you were elected the interim party leader for the UDP, he is not accepting that, he's not consenting to that, and I believe in the interview last night, he has said that I am going to take as much precaution and security as possible.
Oh,
so
gosh.
Are you a threat?
are you a threat then? And what happens now? Where will you convene if he does not
It's
concede?
amazing that he continues to become the victim in all of this, when he is the perpetrator of the demise of the democracy of the United Democratic Party. He went to the police station, you know, and he filed a complaint against our second deputy leader. He was scared of his life. He's scared of me now. Let me tell you something. The United Democratic Party is an institution that is 51 years old. And the institution doesn't make the people. The people make the institution. And he can hold on to that building as long as he thinks he has the right to. That building does not belong to Shine Barrow. That building does not belong to Dean Barrow. That building does not belong to any one person. That building belongs to the members of the United Democratic Party. And there's only one trustee that remains alive, and that is Mr. Henry Young, who the building is named after. So, and ultimately, we will go to the trustee and ask for his support, because this is
Who's the trustee?
insanity.
Mr.
It's
Young.
Henry Young Sr.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's insanity. It's insanity. And so he thinks he is going to hijack this party by welding the door to the building. Does he
Putting
think
new
that's what has
locks?
happened? Putting in new locks? Welding the door to the building? That is a sign of someone who certainly doesn't have it all together, to use a kind terminology.
But then that leads to the question as to what happens now, because and this is a conversation Paul and I were having yesterday, because as a voter, I would like to know what my ballot is going to look like come
Yeah.
elections next year.
Correct. Yeah. And it's quickly coming.
Yes.
And if we're uncertain about, all right, who went up on the ballot, what on the ballot, with a few months left to at least, assuming a few months are left, well, it seems as if there is only one option. What will that ballot look like? What will the ballot look like?
My name is going to be on that ballot, and I don't want any UDP supporter or delegate or stakeholder to be concerned. This matter is going to be resolved. It's going to be resolved shortly, and my commitment was and still is, we will leave no stone unturned.
Is this going to go to the courts?
It may.
It may.
It-
Now, I wanted to bring up a arguable point, I think a point worth arguing, and we could clarify. Who verified that these people, the supporters who attended Sunday's convention, were actually delegates? Because my understanding is there's a process of verification ahead of, or perhaps even during, these national conventions. Who verified that?
What was the process of verification when there was a convention in August of 2023? What was the notice sent out to delegates for that convention in August of 2023? Where was the roll call for that convention in August of 2023? Where was the registration of delegates for that convention in 2023? Let me be clear. The delegates are the delegates. And here, how you become a delegate. There's a constituency convention, and your constituency determines who will be the 15 people representing that constituency as a delegate to the party. It's a vote, they're elected, they're not appointed. They're elected by their communities. And then they sign an oath of office, an oath of allegiance when they're sworn in. It's signed by the delegate, it is signed by the chairman or whoever is officiating for him, and it's sealed with the UDP stamp. The date of the constituency convention starts your term in office, and your term in office is 2 years. So for example, in the Albert Division, our constituency convention was held on November 27th, 2022. It means that my delegates, whether I like them or not, are in office until November 27th, 2024. Constituency conventions started in 2022, in November, and ran all the way through to August of 2023. And all those delegates had to sign their oath of office. The only way they can be removed is if they send in a resignation letter saying to their standard bearer, I no longer wish to serve on your executive committee. I am unaware of any delegate that has done that since the last constituency conventions were held, and if so, we would like for them to produce that letter. I have in my possession copies of the oaths that were signed by those delegates when they became delegates. So nobody is going to try to illegitimize the delegates because they want to bore holes and cause confusion to the Belizean people.
Do you think that this is all the arguments that Mr. Barrow and his supporters are making, that it is causing a sense of confusion after Sunday?
They're grabbing at straws. Desperation has now set in. Nobody can deny. Nobody can deny the overwhelming support that was at that convention on Sunday for the recall of Shine Barrow. He is not fit to lead the party, and the delegates of this party have said so, and the supporters of this party have said so.
But
is
it
simple.
Is it something that is, I guess, the smart choice to ally yourselves with persons like John Saldivar and Patrick Faber, who have not necessarily gathered the support from their constituencies in the past year? Persons like John Saldivar, who has been recalled.
John Saldivar has not gathered the support of his constituency?
No.
Really? He went to a convention? He went to a convention in Belmopan. That is what the Constitution says. You go to a convention if you want to run, and the party accepts that you should run. And let me say this about it was the former party leader who made the way for John Saldivar to run in a convention in Belmopan. He made the way for John Saldivar because John Saldivar was his campaign manager when he was running for leader in 2022. And John, he didn't know anyone in this party. Remember where he was before he came home to Belize. And John Saldivar took him throughout this country, village by village, town by town, district by district, and introduced him to the key UDP movers and shakers, and introduced him to the delegates, and made the case for Shine Barrow to be the leader of the party. And when John Saldivar disagreed with him after he did all of that, he says that John Saldivar is no longer fit to be a member of this party. He called an NPC, and he asked the NPC to allow John Saldivar to run, and the NPC supported that motion, and John Saldivar went to a constituency convention with 2 other people. And even though The party leader sat in a Bacon house all day paying for voters to vote against John Saldivar. He won convincingly. That is what the Constitution says. You put yourself in the race. Who wins becomes the standard bearer, because that is the will of the people. Tracy Panton, nor Beverly Williams, nor the new chairperson, Machina Pitts, can say otherwise, because the Constitution says that the will of the people will prevail.
Now, clearly, the leader, Mr. Moses Shine Barrow, clearly Mr. Barrow is not here to respond to the assertion that he sat in a Bacon house and paid voters, and so we can't get a response from him to that assertion at this point in time, and I just wanted to make that clear. Now,
you know what I find funny?
Tell me.
That when he makes assertions about everybody in this party, I don't hear that coming from the media. Oh, well, Mrs. Panton is not here to make the case for herself, or Mr. Saldivar is not here to make the case for himself, or Mr. Boots Martinez.
That's a very serious assertion,
Mr. Boots Martinez is not here to speak for himself, or Honorable Mr. Edmond Castro is not here to. He gave a 1-hour interview to your media house yesterday, a 1-hour interview, and he made assertions against many people in this party. And I did not hear once your reporters say, well, Honorable Patrick Farber isn't here to speak for himself, so we can't accept that comment.
Well, Ms. Patton, to be fair, we don't have time to get into the facts of what is out there on record in terms of allegations made, charges brought, certain declarations being made.
Is it a fact that the former party leader of the United Democratic Party spent 10 years in jail?
It's a fact.
Has the Boots Martinez or Patrick Farber or John Saldivar or all the persons that he cast aspersions on yesterday ever been to jail?
Not that
have
I
ever
know
been
of.
Charged?
Yeah. Not that I know
have ever
of.
been convicted?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so let's be, I just ask for fair play.
Yeah, indeed,
that's all I ask for,
and
fair play.
Accepted. Now, one of the things that the convention and the huge showing of support on Sunday did is it also brought out, or at least pushed, Mr. Barrow supporters to begin to show their faces and make declarations. Take, for example, key figure, somebody that the convention declared, at least what seemed to be as an invite, Mr. Hugo Pat, to be a part of the appointed team, the team, I can't remember the word exactly. He said yesterday that he is with the Barrow executive, and that that's where his support lie. How do you come back from a key figure declaring public support for Mr. Barrow?
Has the Honorable Hugo Pat resigned from the UDP?
He has not.
Has he? Oh, I'm not sure that he has. And the convention did not seek to replace the first deputy leader or the second deputy leader of this party. We would not have shown that level of disrespect for him because we don't know that he has resigned from the party, and we were not going to resign him. The reason the party leader was taken to task is because 208 delegates of this party triggered a recall of his leadership, and that is what took place on Sunday. Now, I would have hoped that the first deputy leader would have, at minimum, signed off on that press release. Where is his signature saying that this is his will and it is authentic? But I am...
So you question the legitimacy of that release?
I question the thinking, if you will, of the deputy leader. Nobody came after him. He was endorsed just as the second deputy leader was endorsed at the August endorsement convention at Birds Isle, August 2023 endorsement convention. And the job of this convention was clear. It was published. We got input from delegates as to what to be on the agenda. The motions were sent in a requisite number of time. The notice was sent in a requisite number of time. You will recall when we had that press conference, we had said we would have it on October 6th. And then we checked the convention and realized, no, we can't do that because the Constitution, we can't do that because we have to follow the Constitution. We have to follow the Constitution. And so we had to push back the date. It is his prerogative. But people, the supporters of Corozal North and the supporters of the United Democratic Party expect their leaders to lead.
But it sounds, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said that it sounds though that you are utilizing the Constitution in its legal form in order to legitimize this convention. You saying that this was a convention to recall the leader of the UDP. You are now the interim leader. It was not against the first deputy and the second deputy. Honorable Shine Barrow is saying he's also using the Constitution to illegitimize this convention, and therefore,
it's amazing.
right? So
It's
no, so and this is
amazing.
why, and this is,
It's
and I think this is
amazing.
the reason why I keep asking about the Constitution, because for
I'll
me,
send you a copy to read.
please, yes,
I'll
thanks,
send you a copy to read.
because
There's no secret. It's on Facebook.
right,
You know, it's all over the place.
and so if the purpose of the convention was to simply recall the leadership, Moses Shine Barrow as leader of the UDP,
And also the chairman
And also the
vice
chairman
chair,
and
because
vice chair.
they have not, they have, in our opinion, and in the opinion of the delegates, and in the opinion of the supporters, they have abandoned their duty and responsibility to this party. The chairman of the United Democratic Party is the guardian of the Constitution. He is the person who should ensure that the Constitution of this party is upheld, and the Constitution of this party is defended at every opportunity, and he dismissed the Constitution. It's amazing to me that now they're referring to the Constitution, a Constitution that they did not utilize when they removed unilaterally 8, not 1, not 2, 8 standard bearers of the United Democratic Party who were either elected or endorsed. They did not use the Constitution when they arbitrarily and unilaterally appointed new standard bearers to the areas where they have removed standard bearers: Port Loyola, Belize Rural South, Caribbean Shores. There's a process. They did not use the Constitution when they determined or declared that 4 of the most senior members of this party had constructively resigned, and when that could not stick, expelled. There is a process in the Constitution on how you deal with an individual that you believe has violated some, or there's some infraction against that person that hurts the party. You have a Central Executive Committee meeting. Whatever the Central Executive Committee decides goes to the National Party Council, which is the second highest decision maker in the party. When they vet what comes from the Central Executive, because the NPC is the board, and the Central Executive is the management team. Let's understand. And then the NPC will determine if whatever is sent before them is worth further investigation and consideration. And if they believe there is an infraction, then they take us to the Ethics Committee, because there is the law of natural justice. And we have a right to be heard. It's a fundamental right for those of us who have been expelled from the party. And then the ethics committee is to meet, we must go before there's a hearing, all this process. And then whatever the ethics committee determines after meeting with us, then the ethics committee goes back to the NPC and say, these are our findings and these are our recommendations for sanctions. None of that occurred. When the former party leader and the former chairman says, the delegates are no longer the delegates for Port Loyola because we have a new standard bearer. No, the Constitution says delegates are elected in a constituency convention and their term of office, if you will, is 2 years. Okay. You can't remove them without a process. And the process to remove them is to have another constituency convention after the 2-year period thing. Because the executive committees are like the permanent secretaries in a ministry. They stay. The leaders may go and come, but the executive committees are the ones that hold ground, if you will, for the party during any periods of transition.
What I hear you saying, we have just a couple more final questions. What I hear you saying is that after Sunday's convention, pretty much what you have in Mr. Barrow is an intruder in the house. Somebody who's not supposed to be there is there as the leader.
You mean in the
we'll say headquarters, but generally we say institutionally as a leader, him remaining in the leadership position. Yeah. An intruder, I'll just phrase it as this, and this is where I'm going with it. The criticism that is made against you in some circles is that your approach to remove this intruder is somewhat of a more negotiation, while the intruder has a gun in his hand, quote unquote, and is ready for war. Because I don't know you from the years that I've watched you in politics to be a fighter per se, to be an aggressive person. You're a peacemaker. You are a conversationist, a negotiator. Are you approaching, do you accept perhaps the criticism that you're approaching this fight or this battle for leadership with a sense of weakness?
I said light.
Or too so lightly? You're bringing a knife to a gunfight.
That's funny. No one in the movement wants to further break up the party. We are as close to as rock bottom, if not rock bottom, as the party can be. It is my commitment to do everything I can to unite the party. Now, you may not appreciate my leadership style.
I appreciate it.
And that's
it's not neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there. We have the support of the people. And I am in politics because I made a vow, I made an oath that it is my intention to serve the people. Because you see what is going on with the former party leader? Where is the people in all of that? Where is the people? Where is his consideration for the people? Where is his consideration for the people of Mesop? The way he has spoken so derogatively of people like Miss Geraldine Tillett, who has served this party for longer than I have been a member of this party, from Carl Thompson days. But because she dares to say, you're not fit to lead this party, he ostracizes her. No. We are the new leadership team, and we are doing our work, and it will become very clear on what strategies we are using. We are trying to do the best we can to allow, not negotiating, I have nothing to negotiate with him. The people gave me a mandate. Yeah. And the people said, we need new leadership and we want you to hold on to that leadership mantle through to the next election.
Right. But what if elections are to be called in February? What would be your strategy then? Is this going to be...
Do you think this is going to last until February?
It has been lasting for a while.
No,
it has been lasting for a while.
But,
and
I mean, Sunday...
and it's one of those...
It has lasted for a while because we insist on respecting the constitution of the party. You see, we can't say we are respecting the constitution on one hand and doing things that violate the constitution on another hand. We can't. We are following the constitution of the party. And the constitution says leaders are determined at a national convention. And you have to give 6 weeks for the national convention. And so we are following those steps.
So let's see. All right.
And I wanted, you made the point about a building. And yes, the headquarters is iconic for the UDP. But it's a building, it's concrete, stone and sand and concrete. And I dare say that when that building was being built, the former party leader was nowhere in sight. Not in Belize and not in New York, because he was elsewhere. The building, yes, is iconic, and we will get possession of that building. I have no doubt about it. We have clearly outlined to him, and not me, not the current chair, not the current vice chair, the people of this party have said, sir, you need to leave. And leaving doesn't mean you leave your division, because nobody's saying that, because he was endorsed at a convention in Mesop, and the people in Mesop will decide whether he stays there or not, right? So while I can't reveal all the steps that we will be taking at this time, be assured that we will take the necessary steps, if not to occupy that building, to create a new space for the UDP headquarters.
I think my final question is, once the dust settles, and let's say in this hypothetical, please, right? I'm just trying to make a case. They concede you are the interim party leader. Elections are called next year, and you all win your seats, him included. How are you all going to work together?
He has a space in this party, and nobody at no time said he did not have a space in this party. Nobody at any time said to any of those of my colleagues who support him to stay and fall on his sword, we have never said that it is going to be our plan of action to have these people unilaterally removed and kicked out of the party, because that's the narrative he has used. He incites fear and he intimidates, and that is how he leads. We have never said that. He is the standard bearer for Mesop. He is the elected era rep for Mesopotamia. And so he can run in his constituency, and if he wins, he will have a role to play in this party. That is the way democracy works. We will not always agree.
Yes.
Democracy is not neatly packaged, but it is the best form of governance we have. And so when that time comes, if that time comes, he will have a role to play.
My final question from me is, how can the Belizean population, the voting population, and I'm not just talking about Belize City and your constituencies, but can the rest of Belize trust that the UDP will get back on track to be the opposition that we need them to be?
By our action. It's easy not to act. And there are many of my colleagues who have said, we will sit back, we won't get involved, we will sit on the fence, we'll see what happened, and then we'll jump in. No, we have to act, because leaders are elected to lead. And I am sure, I'm confident that the new leadership team will be able to regain the trust and the confidence of the people.
Well, Ms. Panton, you've been in many dances, and this is perhaps the biggest one of your life.
You know,
And
dancing is what I love to do.
we saw Super G definitely had you busting some moves on Sunday. And this is the biggest one of your life, perhaps, and we wish you all the best.
And it is the biggest privilege of my life, being in a position where I can serve my country and serve my constituency and serve the people of this country is a privilege. And I'm humbled and I'm grateful for it.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for your time. We wish you all the very best. And we, as a voting population, we look forward to see the next moves of this strategy. Thank you so much for being here today. We do got to take a quick break, though, and our friends from Cellular World are here to talk to us about their 20th anniversary promotion deals. Don't go away. We'll be right back.